Happy 2025. Well, we are not dead.
Nope.
In fact, we are alive. We decided to take a week off for Thanksgiving, and that turned into 7 or 8 weeks. It was a nice break. We had some plans, some things fell through, some things got moved around, but the important thing is we are all happy and healthy and mostly together.
Yes, you will notice that we are not in our basement as usual for our What Are We Doing This Year videos. We are actually at a little getaway in West Virginia, and Riley is at home with the grandparents. She is not on this little getaway, but we're going home to her tomorrow. Since it's been a while since we've seen y'all, we did want to give a little wrap up on some of our faves last year, what goals we hit that we wanted to achieve and all that jazz. So we're going to start with our favorite Airbnb, specifically because of the Airbnb itself. And my favorite was the Maryland tiny home we stayed in. It was small, but the space was used like so well. I think it was one of the best tiny homes we've ever stayed in. We stayed in quite a few.
We stay in a lot of tiny houses.
The bathroom was huge, so that was a plus. It was right on a river. It was very peaceful, super quiet. Yeah, it was one of those places where we left and we were like, we'll definitely be coming back here sometime again.
My favorite Airbnb we stayed at in 2024 was actually also in West Virginia, but it was in Rio, West Virginia, which is northern West Virginia. It was an incredible house. It was not a tiny house. For the first time in a very long time, we actually had an entire
It's actually
house.
a big house.
It was a big house. We had the whole place to ourselves. It had incredible wraparound porches. It had an outdoor tub, which is awesome. The weather was perfect. It was just cozy. We had plans to do a lot more, and we actively canceled plans just to stay at the Airbnb because it was just, I don't know, there's just something about it was so special.
And now onto my favorite location, not because of the Airbnb, but specifically where we were. Mine from last year would be the Upper Peninsula. We went in October. It was one of our last videos we filmed last year, and the fall colors were the best by far that I have ever seen, and we go to the Northeast all the time in fall, and it like beat those by a landslide.
Yeah, Michigan put Maine to shame, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, we went to the UP before a couple of years ago in the snow, but we've never been up there any other time of the year. But I would love to go back there in the fall again. It was just beautiful. We were there somehow right at like peak foliage time. We seem to plan that out somehow every year pretty well. It just kind of works out.
My favorite area that we stayed in last year, should come as no surprise, was Polebridge, Montana. We have been to Montana numerous times. It's definitely one of our favorite states. Polebridge is like 20 miles away from the Canadian border. It's on the western side of Glacier National Park. It is the most unvisited part of the entire park system. It's remote. There is no electricity out there. All the houses run on solar panels. There's no gas stations for miles and miles. You feel like you're in a real special part of Montana when you were in Polebridge.
Next up is our favorite foods category, and you know we can never narrow it down to just one food we ate all year, so I actually have 3 favorite foods. One,
Why am I surprised?
not in any order, but one of them is the breakfast crepe I had. I forget the exact name, from Tandem Creperie and Traveler's Rest.
The lumberjack crepe.
The lumberjack crepe. It had like bacon and ham and egg, some kind of like drizzle on top, and like it was dusted with sugar, and it was delicious. Another runner-up would be the creme brulee that we got from Blackbird Bakery in Bristol. That was the super cute little cafe coffee shop we went to, and they had like literally hundreds of pastries, and the creme brulee was chef's kiss. And then last but not least would be my baked potato that I had obviously in Idaho, in Sandpoint, Idaho. It was the best baked potato I've ever had, which was what I was hoping because I was in Idaho. So, you know, they're kind of known for their potatoes there.
I was able to narrow it down to 2. Some of us couldn't do that, but I was able to. So in no particular order, I would say the Bear Claw from the Polebridge Mercantile in Montana. The Mercantile is this tiny little general store. It's been around for well over 100 years, I think. And it's It's a tourist spot, I will 100% agree, but people literally drive from the other side of Glacier all the way around to come up to Pole Bridge to get the bear claw. I had at least 2 that I'm willing to admit to on camera, potentially more. They were just awesome. They were huckleberry. That's what made them super special. It's like a Montana, not a Montana berry, but huckleberries aren't everywhere. My other favorite food, if you've been watching us for any amount of time, you know how much I love seafood, specifically lobster. And when we went to Maine last year, I got so much lobster, but I'm gonna go with the lobster roll from Bite Into Maine. I think it's on my favorite list every single year because somehow every single year I manage to talk Candace into going up to Maine, specifically to get that lobster roll, but always incredible.
Now our favorite hike of the year. It was hard to narrow down to just one, but one of my top ones we did was definitely the Kootenai Falls Trail, which is the one we did as we were leaving Idaho, going into Montana to stay at Pole Bridge. We stopped because it was a place that I've had on my Pinterest board as places I want to go for a very long time now because I thought it just looked so beautiful, and it was one of those places that looked better than the pictures. The water was stunningly blue, the trees were super pretty. We had the majority of the trail to ourselves, even though it looked crowded. There's a lot of space for people to spread out, and it was definitely a great stop. I would go back there again if we were in the area.
My favorite hike from last year, like Candace said, it's really hard to narrow down, but I'm going to go with the Schoodic Head and Anvil Loop from our time in Maine. We've been to Acadia National Park, I don't know how many times, at least 5, if not more times than that, probably more than that. But we'd never been to the Schoodic side of the national park before, which is a separate peninsula that you have to drive an hour to get to. That hike was hard. That really pushed us, which I do enjoy a difficult hike. Very steep, very rocky, as is everything in Acadia.
Almost didn't make it out by nightfall. Didn't
Yeah.
have any lights.
I got turned around, which never happens with us hiking, but I actually got turned around.
Next category is our favorite activity, excursion, whatever you want to call it. I picked ziplining in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Andrew wasn't the biggest fan. I find it quite scary, but I also found it very fun. I've only been ziplining one other time, and it was quite a long time ago, so I was interested to see if I'd like it as much as I did a decade ago, and I loved it. I thought it was super fun. The one that we did and the one that I've done before, you're going platform to platform, which I think would be more fun than just doing one long zip line, because you're actually getting to see a lot more stuff, and it lasts hours instead of just 5 minutes. So yeah, and it was in a beautiful place, so that's my number one.
My favorite little excursion or adventure we did was when we went to Mackinac Island in Michigan. Very famous island. It's not something that I really had learned a lot about. Even when we were in Michigan a couple years ago and we drove past it, I was like, oh, hey, Mackinac, that's cool, but I didn't really look into it. But holy cow, is that place incredible. There are no motorized vehicles. Everything is horses and bikes, so that kind of gives it an old school feel, which was nice. We caught it at the second to last weekend before the tourist season shut down, so it was not crazy crowded, it was not hot. I think it was actually kind of cold that day.
Yeah, it was actually pretty chilly.
Yeah, but it was just, I understand why people want to make a pilgrimage to go to Mackinac, and it was definitely something I would recommend.
Places we were most surprised by. So not necessarily that we weren't looking.
Surprised you?
That actually didn't scare me a little bit.
I've been planning that.
Not that we weren't looking forward to going necessarily, but we just didn't either know much about the area, or maybe it wasn't woohoo, so excited to be here. But mine was one of the first places we went last year, Hocking Hills State Park. I had seen a lot of photos of other people who went, and it looked pretty, but it really kind of was much prettier, and literally around every turn was a pretty waterfall and cool rock formations. Yeah, it just kind of blew my expectations out of the water a little bit. Yeah, it's really beautiful. I would definitely go back again. Unfortunately, when we were there, we literally had like half a day.
Yeah.
I think so. There's a bunch of other trails that we could have done, and I think we'll definitely be back there sometime in the near future to spend a little bit more time in Hocking Hills because it was very beautiful.
The place that I was most surprised about, not that I didn't think it was going to be nice, I just didn't know a lot about it, was northern Idaho. When we went up and stayed near north of Coeur d'Alene, but in that general area. We'd driven through southern Idaho a handful of times when we went to Washington State and came back. Obviously, you got to come back. But northern Idaho is completely different. You're in the Rockies. You are in the mountains. You're on the edge of the mountains. Everything is so incredible. We saw 15 or 20 bald eagles while we were there. We had incredible lake views. I didn't expect northern Idaho to be like that, and it was incredible.
And we've got to throw in our favorite coffee shop. Mine was Jitters Espresso. It wasn't just one that we went to. We went to multiple while we were in Idaho, and it was super cheap. The coffees were large, and they were very tasty.
If you guys haven't been to the West Coast or anywhere that have these little espresso huts or espresso chalets, they kind of go by different names, like the trailers parked on the side of the road where you drive up on both sides to get coffee, game changer. Absolute game changer. Every time we go somewhere that have those, we OD on coffee. Well, we both like coffee anyway.
Yeah, we're always sad when we come home and there are no espresso huts here.
My favorite coffee shop is a little bit easier for us to get to if we wanted to. It was Social Coffee in Leonardtown, Maryland. But Social Coffee was interesting because during the day it was a coffee bar, and at night it was just a bar. So they changed up what they offered depending on the time. I mean, I guess McDonald's does that too, it's not that special. But it was really good coffee, it was nice and open, they had a lot of options, and that was my top pick for 2024.
And Riley's not here, as we mentioned, but in honor of Riley, we wanted to mention her favorite fry of the year because that's a very important category, obviously. And her favorite fry was from Pal's in Tennessee. And why was it her favorite fry? Because it was our favorite fry, and we thought that she would like what we liked. So that'll wrap up our favorite things that we did last year. Now we'll go into just a few goals or things that we hope to accomplish for this year. We did this in our last year What Are We Doing video, and we did some of the goals, not all of the goals, but who wants to start the year out negative? So let's just go into the goals we have for this year.
That's right.
The number one goal we have, which should be relatively easy I think because we're getting pretty close, is to cross off all the states on the East Coast, which is literally just
3?
New Jersey, Delaware, and Florida.
Yeah, that's it.
So we're thinking we can do that this year.
Our second goal for 2025 is to finally monetize our channel. We have been doing this pretty regularly since October of 2022. Every year at the end of the previous year, we've doubled our subscribers. So right now I think we're about at 620 subscribers, so we really want to reach that goal of 1,000 subscribers. We don't want to be rich, we don't care about making millions, but I swear the first time I can pay for a tank of gas with money that we earned from like YouTube would just be the most incredible thing ever. So that is a giant goal for us this year, is to finally get monetized.
I'll be excited with $1, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll start with $1 and then make our way up to $40 to fill up the Equinox, but that'll just be awesome.
This is kind of one of my goals because I do like the social media stuff, but I want to do 2 shorts per week once we start like actually traveling this year. Last year my goal was like 1 short per each video we put out, which for the most part I think that was one of the goals that we achieved last year.
Yeah.
But I want to up it to 2 a week this year.
Our last goal for this year is a pretty big one. It was a big one last year when we mentioned it, and it was a big one the year before that when we mentioned it. We want to finish our website. We have stuff, we just haven't pushed it out yet. It's a lot. Anyone that has started a website from scratch knows, anyone that maintains a website knows how much it is. It's just the getting going that really seems to be difficult for us. So maybe By the time this video comes out, I'm just joking, it won't be ready. But eventually, go to RileyRoams.com one day and you'll be able to see some of our stuff.
Now, what the heck are we doing this year?
Nobody knows.
That's what the people want to know.
Thanks for watching.
We've got a lot of the year actually planned out. Per usual, further into the year, it gets a little hazy about what we actually may do. But we do have a trip booked. We're leaving like a few weeks from now, and we're going to Missouri, which is where our Airbnb is going to be, but we're staying in like the very bottom corner of Missouri, so we're hoping to knock out several states with that one. Arkansas definitely will be an easy one because we're like right on the border. Oklahoma, and potentially Kansas if we can find anything to do in that area of Kansas.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you know a lot about Kansas, or even a little bit more about Kansas, what is there to do in the southeast of Kansas?
It doesn't appear like there's much.
Yeah, the southeast specifically is where we're going to be near, so if you know of something, please comment below, because we need some help.
So that's going to be a big trip for us. After that, I think we're going to try to do like a weekend trip or a long weekend trip to DC, probably without Riley because we want to go to like some museums and stuff like that. And we'd be staying in a hotel most likely, so we don't want to leave her in a hotel, obviously. Hopefully, maybe we'll be there when the cherry blossoms are blossoming this spring.
Us and 20 million of our closest friends. I'm gonna add in we're fighting with the sun and the snow and the windows and the glass, so, you know.
We wanted a pretty backdrop, so we wanted to do it in front of the window. Also, it's like a really tiny space, so it was either sitting here or sitting on the bed.
Yeah.
Or sitting in the shower.
Yeah.
So.
Or on the toilet. So, if it gets too bright, it's just kind of hard to film with such a light backdrop sometimes. But after the DC trip, we have a backpacking trip planned. We have said that many years in a row. One of us is a lot more excited to go backpacking than the other one is. Sometimes you just gotta, just go. It's gonna be okay. There's no grizzlies where we live, so it's gonna be okay. But
I will say one time we actually were going backpacking last year, and then it rained for like literally
Yes.
2 weeks straight.
All the reviews were on the campground said, "Don't come. Everything is flooded. It's miserable." So yeah, we did have a trip. That's fake. We were even packed.
We were.
We were ready
had
to
all
go.
The camping stuff ready to go.
Okay, so I'll give you that one. That's not her fault.
But we're gonna do it this year.
This year is
Mark
the year.
my words. And then we have a big trip in May. We are going out west. Shocking, I know. Again, but we're going to a new area this time. We're gonna be driving. Well, we're driving through a lot of states, but we're gonna stop for a little while in Estes Park, Colorado. We've been to Denver before, but other than that, we've never really seen that much of Colorado. We're staying in a really cool Airbnb there with some family, and hopefully the weather will be nice and we'll be able to explore a whole lot. And then from there, we are going to Wyoming, where we're staying just a little way south of Grand Tetons. And we've never been to that area of Wyoming before. We've literally just been to Cheyenne for like a day, and we've been to Yellowstone. And we've always wanted to see the Tetons. So we'll be seeing the Tetons. And hopefully, a moose. One of my goals this year is to see a moose.
That wasn't on the official goals page, but she wants a moose.
I go everywhere the moose are, and the moose are never there. So the moose, if you're listening, maybe there.
After our trip out west, we are going to the exciting states of New Jersey and Delaware. Very comparable to Colorado and Wyoming.
Those were actually on our list of places to go last year, and I think it was one of the only places that we mentioned that we didn't actually end up going to. Mainly because we couldn't find anywhere to stay.
Yeah.
We had nowhere to stay there.
Nope.
After our New Jersey-Delaware trip, we are going to the Eastern Shore, or probably going to the Eastern Shore. I shouldn't say these are definite because nothing's actually booked yet. But hopefully we're going to the Eastern Shore like late summer-ish. I've never been. You've never been, I don't think.
No, I've been close to it, but yeah, we've lived in Virginia our entire lives and have never gone to that little weird peninsula on the far east coast. That's the Eastern Shore. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, you go like across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which we've never done, which is a little scary. But yeah, I've just always wanted to see that area. That's where they have like wild horses and stuff like that on the beach. So hopefully we'll see some of those. and we figured late summer was a good time to go over there.
So after the eastern shore of Virginia, it should be getting into about like early fall-ish, which to me is perfect camping and backpacking weather. So,
There's that word again.
yeah, I'm gonna try to get it to go again. We're gonna shoot for some camping or some backpacking. There's something in the fall to really enjoy. We have a beautiful area of Virginia to live in, and sometimes we drive 2,000 or 1,000 miles to Maine to enjoy the foliage. We also have very nice foliage where we live. We just kind of forget that sometimes.
And like we said, we're hoping to round out the East Coast videos. So next up, potentially, Florida.
I think I counted right. I practiced.
Florida is a big state if you're not aware of what Florida looks like. So I think we'll probably actually stay in like a couple of different areas in Florida, just to get a different feel for the different areas of Florida.
I want to see the swamps. I'm not saying we're going all the way down to the Everglades. I know you don't have to go that far south to see the swamps, but I went to the Everglades once when I was a kid, and it was really cool. So I want to go back and see some gators. And so does Riley.
After Florida, it'll be October-ish, which normally we do kind of a bigger fall trip, or we have the past few years. That I have no idea actually where we'll be going, but we'll probably be going somewhere because we always go somewhere in the fall. I'm assuming it will be north. Well, I'm not assuming. It will definitely be north because why would I go south in the fall? So I don't know if it'll be like the Northeast. I don't know if it'll be back to Michigan because it was so pretty. Canada, maybe? I don't know.
So to end out the 2025 travel year, we really want to go to some Christmas markets again. A couple years ago, we went to the markets up in New York City and loved it. We were going to go in 2023, didn't do it. We wanted to go like a month ago, couldn't afford it, just to be frank. So we're going to save our pennies. And somehow, even though we couldn't afford to go to New York City, we're going to go to Europe. We want European Christmas markets. Everyone else on YouTube makes them seem so incredible, and usually when we try to plan a European trip, it's like, oh, we have to be gone for 2 weeks. No, it's not gonna work. We might be gone for a day and a half. We might land, eat something, get back on the plane.
We're not even gonna stay. We're just gonna go run to a Christmas party and get back on the plane.
So that is our giant goal somehow, is to get to Europe for Christmas markets this Christmas. I might have to sell an organ.
Send us some money.
Yeah, that's fine. We do accept money. Send it to Riley. She's always been very generous with us. But that is the end of our travel plans for 2025. It's a lot of stuff. Hopefully some of that piqued y'all's interest and you say, yeah, I'm going to tune in and see them go there. Maybe tell some friends. Get us to 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, another thing we did want to mention. Last year we went to posting from Sunday to Saturday at 10 a.m. and we are going back to Sundays at 10 a.m. for this year.
Yeah, I don't know what made it different. I just struggled getting out videos by Saturday. I have no idea what it was. Hopefully by changing it back to Sundays, maybe that gives me like an extra day. I don't know. I'm sure it's just a mental issue with me, but I struggled.
But we kind of liked, I don't know, we like Sunday videos a little better than Saturday morning videos.
Yeah.
The sun is in full force.
Yeah, we're really fighting the sun. I think we're about to lose all cloud coverage, so I think we need to end the video here.
Yeah, so like I said, we're not leaving for our trip for another few weeks, so it will be 3 to 4 weeks before you see like our first travel video of the year.
And get to see Riley for the first time of the year.
But we'll see y'all in late February.
Yeah. So as always, we'll see y'all somewhere.
Thanks for watching Riley Roams. Click subscribe to keep up with all of our latest travels, and don't forget to click that like button too.